Okay, in my previous video that I uploaded, I was talking about how you can actually use EBT food assistance to shop at your local farmer's market to get fresh produce, fresh meat, and healthier, more nutritious, locally grown food products. And at the farmers market they have everything. They have cheap stuff, they have pricier stuff that's like gourmet and specialty and everything. Excuse excuse me, everything in between. And it's very important to promote local products because, for one thing, when you have local products, not only are you getting better nutrition, but you're still going to have access to food even if the diesel trucks are not moving. Like the people who sell at farmers markets, even if they got to get on a horse, they're still going to make it down there. These are people who have land. But the other added benefit is that if you are an entrepreneur and if you have specialty non-competitive products that no one else has, then the farmers market is a really great place to bring whatever you're selling. Something that doesn't compete with other business owners, but something that's unique and a little bit different that they don't carry. And it could be something that's culturally unique, it could be personally unique, it could be almost anything that you can sell in a farmer's market. And then people, they get hungry. You're out, you're walking around, you get hungry. It's an opportunity to have a food truck or a food stand, and it doesn't have to be every single weekend per se. Because even if you're not there every single weekend, that leaves space for where somebody else can step in with their food truck or their drink stand or whatever it may be. But anyhow, I'm still promoting local because it's healthier, it's good for the economy, and it also can promote trade between communities of different races. So you get exposure to different types of products and different types of plants and animals that might have a different nutrient profile. You know what I'm saying? So, as a matter of fact, there was a country music concert for 2 weekends in a row. It was like country and rock music, and they had multiple Black business owners there. I've seen, and they had some wonderful grilled food. And there's an older white lady who owns an ice cream shop. She had some wonderful ice cream products at the county festival. They had a Mexican taco stand. You know, Regardless of whether it's Black American products or traditional European or Mexican, there's different ethnic products that you can partake of depending, from one weekend to the next. You get variety. And you can even get like cans of French herbs de Provence, Japanese seasoning mix, Creole seasoning mix, beeswax, non-chemical bug spray that actually works and works extremely fucking well, might I add. But anyway, I'm gonna get into this weekend's haul. Okay, so for this farmer's market run, I want to talk about cheat week products. And by cheat week, I mean one weekend out of every month where you allow yourself to have more carbs or more sugar or maybe more meat than what you would normally eat. For me, for my cheat week this month, I'm not doing more meat. I just did like more sugars, like natural sugars for my cheat week. So, of course I budgeted. I'm eating like borderline almost vegan. So with the money I saved from, eating borderline almost vegan, I got supported local businesses, okay? So, and again, when the ships are not moving from China, while the shortages are being ongoing and continuous, you can grow food at home, but also buy from farmers who know how to properly manage their soils, so you get that real good nutrition and the more variety in your diet. So for this cheat week, I got some homemade chocolate chip cookies that are huge and super thick and really fluffy. They're like the cookies, those real big cookies you would get from a gas station, except without all the chemicals and shit in it. This is like more natural stuff. When you bite into it, you can taste real butter in there when you bite it. Like, and maybe I'm just more sensitive to it because, I don't eat a lot of animal products because that saves me a lot of money and it helps me lose weight. So when I bite into it, the taste of the real butter really stands out to me in these chocolate chip cookies. And they got the real big whole chocolate chips in them, like Hershey's Kisses, and the cookies about like that thick. Huge. The cookies like bigger than the palm of my hand. And I get a whole box full. And then here, these are the butterscotch oatmeal cookies. And that's really interesting. I've had butterscotch candy before, but never butterscotch cookies, and I'm pretty sure that's gonna be pretty fucking awesome. So yeah, this is my my sugary stuff for my 7 days of cheating on my diet, for my one cheat week every month. Oh yeah, now this apple butter, I had some of this last week. Now, this is not for my budget. Everybody's budget is different. For my budget, which is lower, this is like a high-end specialty product. And that's a little more pricier. And it has no added sugars in it. It's all just natural apple sugar. But it's so incredibly sweet. It's got cinnamon in it. This stuff is amazing. Like when I got some last week, it was so good that I ate the whole jar, even though it wasn't quite time. It was like maybe a day or two ahead of my cheat week. I ate it a little early, okay, but this is a phenomenal, excellent cheat week product. It's all natural. It's creamy. It's super sweet. It tastes phenomenal. So, like for my personal budget, which is lower, this is a specialty product and not a bulking product. I saved a lot of money this month because instead of eating very little meat, I ate like almost none. So I can get away with like having cookies and shit for 7 days. Now, these I have not tried yet because I just got them today, but there was this one stand at the farmer's market. They had a lot of very, very unique preserves that I am really looking forward to trying. And each one has a very unique recipe to it, because no two people's preserves recipes are the same. And aside from the open air market, there's also the physical brick and mortar market. And now the guys who sell fresh meat, they also sell mushrooms, mushrooms are just naturally very high in protein, okay? So with the meat salesmen, when you get their mushrooms, you get all of the protein and none of the fat, none of the cholesterol, And so I got these from the meat guy to kind of make up for having a whole lot less meat in my diet. And he's got the chef's mix variety pack of mushrooms is really phenomenal because This is lion's mane mushroom that I have in my hand. And with lion's mane mushroom, it's really great for cognition and improving brain performance and memory, which I really need that because sometimes I be feeling like I borderline have amnesia. And they have pepino mushrooms and oyster mushrooms, and I think these might be shiitakes. And shiitake mushrooms, they're really great for weight loss too. Like when I first started my weight loss journey, I used to put shiitake mushrooms in my soup with collard greens and stuff and some ham. Well, not the ham, but the ham bone for that broth. And that was actually, I used to love that back then, but I had to give up the pork though. Like shiitake mushrooms, if you eat it in really large quantities, it'll make you go to the toilet. But again, it helps with weight loss and clearing your system out though. Like this is a small quantity of shiitakes, so you eat that, you probably won't feel a difference with those. But yes, the chef's variety mix, a variety of different chemical profiles and different nutritional benefits, and again, this one, that's a superfood for brain performance. So it's really great to be able to have access to that in the chef's variety mix. And so and again, this is a specialty item that I like to get personally. They have other specialty items, but I like this one because mushrooms, saute mushrooms, they're really good to mix into other meals, but they're also good with breakfast too. They're really great with breakfast. They're good on sandwiches, like all kind of stuff. So these are my personal choices for cheat week. But this is this is not a cheat week food. This is just regular stuff that I eat anyway. Like when I'm not eating meat, like I'll get mushrooms and then put the ones from the variety pack in different meals because that's protein. And they do have chicken eggs at the farmer's market, but they tend to sell out really, really fast. And you gotta get there real early, like in the first 60 minutes of the farmer's market opening, if you want to get eggs, because they sell out super fast. And the good thing about the farmer's market eggs is that it's free range chickens, okay? Well, I know the meat guy who sells the mushrooms, I know his eggs are free range. And with the free range chickens, you don't get any false advertising. They actually have a lot of freedom in reality, but you get better nutrition and it's more fresh, okay? So like his chickens, they have access to bugs, insects, and a wider range of different plants, like purslane. Purslane is it's indigenous to Ohio, and a lot of people see purslane as a weed, but purslane is very, very, very high in omega-3 fatty acids. So it's a superfood that helps to promote brain function, okay? So the meat guy who does the mushrooms, like when his free range chickens are out there in the fields, of course they're probably going to roll up on some purslane somewhere because it's a weed. It's edible for humans too, but it's still a weed. And so they're going to have that higher omega-3 fatty acid content in their eggs because they're going to be able to find the purslane weeds, while they're out hunting for bugs and other stuff. So, and another good thing about it is that because free-range chickens are not just surviving on grain alone, their meat is not gonna cause like inflammation in a person's body in the same way that industrial eggs would, because with industrial eggs, that's almost, those are just grain-fed chickens and they eat very little of anything else. But with the free-range local chickens, okay, then you're getting quality, because the free-range chickens, they have all that other stuff I was talking about. Then you have some people, they'll take it a step further, and they'll feed their chickens kale, rice, um, table scraps, little bits of fruit and stuff. So each person raises their animals a little bit differently, and if you find if you find someone who has a unique way that they like to feed their animals, then you gain benefits from that if you're eating the eggs or eating the meat. And I'm not saying people should be eating large amounts of meat. I'm all about environmental conservation. Like, I believe it's better to have less meat that maybe might cost a little bit more, but it's going to have better nutrition and better variety in minerals, and it's going to cause less inflammation in your body. And me personally, I believe that's a good way to eat. Okay. But that's just me personally, and I have a different budget I'm working with. But either way it goes, though, you know, they have good prices and good deals on meat and eggs and things. And one way you can tell chicken eggs are more fresh is if you crack the egg and the yolk sits up tall and it's really firm. Like with the eggs that are being brought in from foreign countries on the cargo ships, you crack the egg open and the yolk kind of lays a tiny bit flat on the top and it's not a perfect dome. Or you crack it open and the egg is a little bit runny in the pan. That's because the eggs have already been sitting for probably for a couple of weeks by the time it hits a grocery store shelf, okay? But when you get the local eggs, they have the date written on the package to tell you when they harvested it. So that means it's going to last a lot longer in your refrigerator because, for one, they just harvested it. It's and for another thing, you get a hell of a lot more mileage because the day they pulled it in out of the nest. And and let's say maybe you don't want like regular chicken eggs. Maybe you might want a more high-end upscale option. Maybe you might want quail eggs, which is very popular in 4-star restaurants. Maybe you might want to treat yourself to a Sunday dinner made from the better products. I mean, just imagine, like, if you have a huge, massive farmer's market steak with a few quail eggs on top or maybe you might want to do some surf and turf, but steak is actually pretty good with sunny side up egg, and imagine if you can do that with quail egg for something a little more exotic. Or like if you want to learn like how the upscale 4-star chefs cook quail eggs, then you can get cookbooks and look at YouTube channels and try all different kinds of 4-star level stuff. That's an option when you have access to quail egg through the farmer's market. I don't even think you can buy quail eggs in a grocery store, to be honest, though. And yeah, so there's all different kinds of options. Whether you want regular chicken eggs, whether you want quail eggs, whether you want a hamburger, or whether you want a steak bigger than your head, there's all kinds of shit to choose from. And every farmer's market is different. Like, I remember when when I was in high school, and my mom went to the Atlanta farmers market when I was in high school, and she decided to come home with a whole roasted ham, or it was a roasted pork. No, I think it might have been a roasted pork shoulder or something to that effect. It was huge. It was huge. It was like almost as big as a Thanksgiving turkey. And she bought this roasted pork shoulder or ham, whichever it was. She bought it from an elderly man at the Atlanta farmers market, and it was like hickory smoked or something. And the color on it was real dark. It was a nice dark, like pecan kind of brown, like pecan to dark walnut. And the flavor the flavor was just infused through the entire slab of meat all the way down to the bone, literally. That's how well it was seasoned and smoked. It was so tender that it was just practically falling off the bone. That's how juicy and tender that smoked pork was. And I don't eat pork anymore. Because pork is not really all that compatible with my particular biochemical type. I'll just say that. But still, I don't eat a whole lot of it. But I'm telling you, this one farmer's market pork shoulder, smoked pork shoulder or smoked ham, whichever one it was that my mom got from there. It was just so amazing and so special that here it is, like 20 something years later, and I still remember it. I still remember it after this 20 something years because it was just so unique and so well done and just so special that it was just unforgettable. And so, like, when you go to the farmers market, there's also that added benefit of not only being able to choose from select better quality items to mix with your bulk products like your beans and rice and whatever, but not only do you get to mix and match your cheap with your expensive, but when you find people who really know what they're doing and who have many years of experience, then you might just find that one magical product that just really sticks with you for the rest of your life and you never forget it. That's what you can potentially find when you go to a farmer's market. And I know that's how it was for me with my first time having a product that came from one. It's like my mother, she knew about those types of things, but I didn't learn until I got older because she wanted us to have a more modern, more technological, and progressive education and upbringing. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. So I guess that's about it for my video on this week's cheat week snacks, full of all that good stuff with the sugar and the carbs for cheating on my diet, but plus with a little, regular healthy stuff added in. So